Okay, hello everybody. This is Juan David Castaño Roldan and my friend who is okay, and Ildefonso Areiza. Now we're going to be discussing this document that was given to us. First, we're going to be tackling the introduction. Then we are going to be talking about early developments. Then a little bit about major contributions. Then a little bit about the work in progress, and finally, problems and difficulties. Now, English is a lingua franca. Okay. Well, actually, yes. As you said, lingua franca is a language that is used between speakers that don't speak the same language. But when they use this language, they can do it like from choice because they said, okay, this language is okay for us, or through some kind of coercion or imposition. Like sometimes these kinds of language are imposed. Yeah, this is the Kashru is the one who defines this, and as you were talking about, like you were talking about, like the bottom circle, which is right there, as you were saying, native speakers who define the norms for what we're supposed to be learning, and then we have the outer circle. I would say providers, yes. Yeah, and you know what? In the Spanish circle, most speakers they use English for international and intercultural purposes. I mean, even if they don't speak like the language in their countries, they use it to communicate with people from all over the world, not just native speakers. Yeah, man, it is. I mean, as you were saying, it is variable because since so many people use it, uh, people tend to like create their own ways to use these kinds of languages. For example, in this case, English, we have many accents and many like ways to put words together. Not really. Moving into early developments, I would say the research and assessment into ELF started recently. Like, not a lot of research has been done in this field. Do you know what the standard? Do you know what the standard is? Like the standard when talking about language? Yes, besides, yeah, and as before you give that example, uh, when when the norm is like native like, you're not taking into account all of those other kinds of English speakers who come, for example, from islands and those countries. I mean, the standard is always American or British, let's say so. Yes, and actually, in the major contributions part, uh, the author stated that it is not possible to assess ELF by conventional psychometrically oriented standardized tests because they only take into account one variety of English. And as you just mentioned, there are world Englishes, like many people use English around the world, so many grammar rules are created and many ways to use this language are created as well. So we would say that we should teach not like English as a foreign language, but but English as a lingua franca. What do you think about the role that international tests have in this? Yeah, besides international tests are suppressed in diversity. Uh, I think it was Jenkins. I know. I think it was Jenkins and Lang. She cited them in the article. Besides, in the work in progress part, we have these questions, which are like, are ELF considerations automatically relevant to all language assessment? Or like, is it possible to assess ELF? Because we're talking about lingua franca, so it's like there are going to be many varieties. So I don't think if it is possible to actually like test all of these varieties, of it is actually like necessary. What do you think about that? Okay. Mhm. And about implementing this, we have some problems and difficulties because we still have these big organizations that create tests, and they are not going to change their practices. Do you know why that is like that? Yeah. Besides, people have bought into that. Like people believe in those tests, so they are still like making money out of that. And now, in the part of future directions, what do you think that we should do about our notion of English, for example? Uh huh. You're right. Besides, I think that we should like widen our notion of English as it was stated in the document beyond the so-called standard varieties, because we're talking about a language that is spoken internationally. So we should like, as Shohami stated in the document, include divergent and local agentive EFL use. Well, actually, yes. As you said, lingua franca is a language that is used between speakers that don't speak the same language. But when they use this language, they can do it like from choice because they said, okay, this language is okay for us, or through some kind of coercion or. Okay, hello everybody. This is Juan David Castaño Roldan and my friend who is. Okay, and Ildefonso Areiza. Now, we're going to be discussing this document that was given to us. First, we're going to be tackling the introduction. Then, we are going to be talking about early developments. Then, a little bit about major contributions. Then, a little bit about the work in progress and for imposition. Like sometimes, these kinds of language are imposed. Finally, problems and difficulties. Now, English is a lingua franca. Okay.